FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Local football will take center stage in our discussions from now to the top of the hour as we look at the next stage of the Ghana football crisis. A ban has been averted, however, the job is not done. They say it's called a normalization committee. We find out what it will do, how it will work, and who should be on the committee if we have the locals to do that. Also, elsewhere, there is a lot going on, even as Ghana's sole participant in African club competitions gets the boot. We'll be hearing from Kenichi Achuhachi, who speaks to us live on the phone to tell us how and why Adriana Stars did not make it. And also, elsewhere, there's a bit of angst in Manchester United. All that plus your thoughts on Facebook and Twitter on the Joy Sports Track. Stay with us.
Flicks and tricks account for the goals and wins. When the tempers flare and the passion is in overdrive, where do you stand as a fan? It is time to turn passion into some real cash. Monetize your shouts at 138.com, the newest and best sports betting and virtual gaming company in town. Sign up and enjoy 200% bonus on your first deposit on www.138.com/Africa. Experience live in play with unbeatable odds, endless markets, and prompt payment. Mobile money enabled with quick deposit and easy withdrawal. Visit any of our retail shops in Accra at Alaju, Caprice, Jamestown, Taifa, Soweto, and Teshi. In Kaswa at Newmarket and Ufako. 138.com is licensed by the Gaming Commission of Ghana and it is not for persons below age 18. Bet responsibly. Call 050-9138-138 for any inquiries. Join the winning team now. 138.com. Win every day.
And Bet138.com is the proud sponsor of the Joy Sports Track here on 99.7 Joy FM. Coming up a bit later, we hear from Kenichi Achuhachi,
which we sustained like 3 new injuries last weekend against Division 1 club, which we already know that they play a very rough game.
And then also we hear from the man who is under the cosh in Old Trafford.
Mistakes. We made mistakes and we were punished by the mistakes. Sometimes you make mistakes but you are not punished. Imagine if in the penalty Gross hits the post.
That will be later. However, though, right now it's 21 minutes after 1 here on 99.7 Joy FM. I'm Gary Al Smith, and we begin with a discussion that started on Saturday. The Normalization Committee of FIFA. We understand that a ban has been averted. We know, actually, the ban should have taken effect by now if things had gone according to the plans of FIFA after they had, of course, given Ghana that ultimatum. However, it will not happen. What happens is that the government of Ghana and the World Football Governing Body have found a way to avert that particular bit of the crisis. And so, the Normalization Committee will steer the affairs of the football in Ghana. Don't forget that a couple of months ago, just about 2 months ago, what they call the liaison team, a 2-man liaison team was formed to steer the affairs of Ghana football with particular reference of taking care of the national teams that would take part in international competitions. But now that the normalization team will come, Randy Abbey was on Newsfile to explain how it will work and other matters. Let's hear him.
I was relieved when the latest decision came up, I was relieved.
You were relieved?
Yes, I was relieved.
You preferred the later decision to the earlier decisions?
Yes, I was relieved.
Explain
because you see, you get a FIFA ban, you know, in a particular situation. You know, I guess there was a lot of misinformation, I don't want to say ignorance, about the issues with respect to a ban. So you hear people say they can ban us, even for 10 years we'll come back, for 2 years we'll come back. You know, and I kept making the point that you would only be brought back if you do the issues that you were asked to do for which reason you were banned. So why would you postpone that? If you can do that today, why would you wait for 2 years, for 6 months, for 1 year, for 10 years to do that same thing? You might as well do it today and avert a ban. You know, and then when people talk about sovereignty and all those things, I keep saying that, look, there's a decision to be made. You can decide that I don't want to be part of FIFA. It's a decision. It's a decision that, look, I don't subscribe to the things they do. I will not use internal mechanisms to try and effect change. I just don't want to be part of it. You can't take that decision. And it is for you to live with the consequences thereof. I hope you appreciate the point I'm making.
All right.
So that's the point we're trying to make, that look, from the beginning, there was a lot of emotive stuff in all these things. True, I mean, football is referred to as a passion of the nation. So there's a lot of emotions around it and all that. So I didn't want the issue of the suspension or the ban, because ultimately we were still going to want to play football. And for us to be brought back, we would have done what they said don't do, for which reason you were banned. So if we could take steps to ensure that the suspension or the ban will not happen, the better. You understand me? But the key thing too then is this something, what we did in that 48 hours, is something we could have done in the 3 months preceding that. You get the point I'm making? And you recall on this show, a similar thing and the discussions. I mean, I don't want to recall, because I keep telling people that I don't like I told you so moments. I mean, for me, it's not time to gloat and be excited about things, because at the end of the day, football must be the winner. It's a big industry. There are a lot of things at stake. We all agree that there's a lot of cleaning up and restructuring and reformation and streamlining. There are a lot of things that have gone wrong that we need to try and put back on track. Where we have differed has been the path, you know, to achieve that. And I'm happy that at least we've all now come to a certain, you know,
if you can take the arrangement point by point and help us appreciate what exactly we have gotten ourselves into as per what has been agreed with FIFA. Yes, if you can take us,
you know, if you take the points 1 to 5, for me they're really routine. I mean, we'll do a task force. I mean, the issue about Africa, just ignore that. I mean, let's focus on Ghana. You know, we'll do a task force. We will exchange information. The security agencies of Ghana will do their work. I mean, FIFA will also do what they have to do. I mean, these are not new things, because if you look at what has been happening, based on the announced number 12, CAF and FIFA have been taking decisions on those they have jurisdiction over. So, for example, Mr. Nyantechi is a member of the FIFA Council. So they have jurisdiction over him as a person. A complaint was filed. They triggered their processes. They have acted, and they continue to act. You have referees who are CAF or FIFA referees. You know, referees have different levels.
Okay.
So if, for example, a referee was involved in this thing and is not a CAF or FIFA referee, don't expect CAF to act. So those who we have seen action on are those who are CAF referees. So they fall within the jurisdiction of CAF.
All right.
And CAF will act based on the number 12. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
And that is why in all the correspondence, FIFA at no point in time has had an issue with the investigations being conducted by the police service. Even with the GFA being designated a crime scene. They have not. In all their correspondence. All what they have said was that they are convinced that the processes for dissolution amounts to interference in the work of the GFA. But they have never ever said that you cannot investigate people. The police cannot do their work. You cannot even declare the headquarters of the GFA as a crime scene. The problem has been going beyond the individuals and wanting to take on the corporate entity, you know, and to position it in such a way that the business of football does not go ahead. All what FIFA is concerned about is for football to go on.
Right.
If there are people who have done wrong, deal with them.
Okay. How is the GFA going to exist now? In what form is it going to exist in the presence of the normalization committee? Because the agreement number 4 is that FIFA, upon consultation with the government of Ghana and CAF, shall establish a normalization committee to replace the executive committee of the Ghana Football Association. FIFA, in consultation with the government of Ghana and the CAF, shall appoint persons with integrity and competence to constitute the membership of the normalization committee. Satisfied with the above measures, the government of Ghana shall take steps to discontinue the process for the winding up of the Ghana Football Association. So, Ghana Football Association will no longer be wound up. But is it the association that will be working or a normalization committee that will be working? Which is
okay?
Which?
Now, we need to appreciate the structure of the FA. If you come to the FA, you have what you call a Congress, which is like the AGM. So that's the highest decision-making body.
Right.
And then you have the executive committee, where you have 22 elected persons, plus the president, from different constituencies. So there are people representing Premier League, Division 1 League, the regional football associations, then we have the constituent bodies. So that's the executive committee. The executive committee is replicated at the regional level. So the structure of the FA is that you have a district football association, you have a regional football association, and then you have the FA itself. All of them have executive committees.
Right.
Now the executive committees are what you might want to call the board of directors. So they are really in charge of the running of the association. And then you have the secretariat, which is the administrative wing. These are people who are employed to work for the association. So the normalization committee takes over the functions of the executive committee of the Football Association. So you still have the GFA Congress there. You still have the administrative body, the secretariat. The secretariat there. But then the executive committee from the district to the national level, their functions are now taken over by this normalization committee. So once the normalization committee is put in place, the tenure of the executive committee at all levels becomes terminated.
Okay.
So now it is the normalization committee that will take all decisions that the executive committee hitherto was responsible for. Now, because this is a temporal measure, you now have a specific mandate. So there will be terms of reference for this particular group, what they expected to do. So basically, they expected to bring football back to normalcy.
All right.
They expected to look at all the rules and the regulations and the structures to ensure that they conform to what FIFA prescribes for us. You know, they're supposed to look at that.
Right.
In some cases, they will even audit the accounts and projects of the FA and all that. And then, most importantly, they will prepare the FA for elections because it's a temporary measure.
Right.
So they would first of all look at the Congress of the FA. Is it fit for purpose? The structure and the composition. Is it fit for purpose? If it is not, and it needs tweaking or some realignment is done. But eventually, they would usher us into elections. And then when people are duly elected to run the affairs of the FA, their work is done.
Okay.
So when the normalization is announced, it will come with a specific terms of reference and the period for their mandate. There are times when they've had to request for extension of time, and then they would have to convince FIFA and CAF that you gave us this period, but we are unable to. I pray that the announcement of the normalization committee happens very, very soon.
Randy Abbey giving us the rundown of what all this talk about normalization committee is about. We'll give some additional detail and to break it down further into, if you like, bullet points. When I say us, I mean myself and Hans Spencer Ando. Hello, Hans.
Hi, Gary.
Yes. So Randy Abbey has given us the breakdown. Let's recap where we've come from since last week.
Right.
The warning was given to Ghana about the impending FIFA ban if we did not do so and so by the Bureau of the FIFA Council. They gave that warning. Now, after their consultation with the government, after the minister, the acting information minister and other stakeholders went to Switzerland, they decided to appoint a normalization committee for the Ghana Football Association in accordance with the relevant statutes of FIFA's books. Now, the committee, just to sum up what Randy Abbey said, will be in charge of 1, running the daily affairs of the GFA.
Okay.
2, let's not forget that the GFA will be back because FIFA agreed with the government that the dissolution should not happen,
exactly.
right? So they will become the new GFA for the meantime, the temporal GFA. They will review the association statutes.
Okay.
And like Randy Abbey said, they may even, if need be, audit the accounts of the FA.
Okay.
So, 3, they will identify the legitimate delegates of the GFA General Assembly if we have that problem. But mind you, we don't have that problem. It's Nigeria who currently have that problem.
Right.
Yeah, so we don't have that problem. 4, they will organize and conduct elections, and this is the key one.
Okay.
Ultimately, that is what they are here to do, to conduct elections for a new GFA Executive Committee, which should take place by a date that they will be given in their terms of reference.
Okay.
So we are waiting for that letter. That letter will tell us how long we should wait, and if we would go beyond an extra time or not. So these are 4 key things.
So just for emphasis,
yes.
Then, so the normalization committee won't only be announced in terms of the people who constitute the committee, but it will come with their terms of reference, timelines, and other duties that they are supposed to perform. For example, overseeing the elections for the executive committee of the Ghana Football Association.
Now, some other important issues about, because people have asked about these the same football people who are then going to be there. Now, this is the key issue. The normalization committee will be composed of an adequate number of members to be identified by a joint FIFA and CAF mission.
Okay.
This is important.
Right.
People are asking, so would the government appoint? This will be done by a joint FIFA and CAF mission, and that will take place soon. So as we speak, FIFA and CAF are deciding who. Now, another key point is that all members of the normalization committee must pass an eligibility check.
That's key.
All of them.
That's very important.
They will pass
under our circumstances.
Yes,
that's very important.
To be carried out by the FIFA review committee, and the normalization committee will act as an electoral committee, and none of its members will be eligible for any of the open positions of the elections. So let me repeat. The eligibility check of the normalization committee members will be carried out by the FIFA review committee.
Right.
Nobody from government will be involved. Nobody from CAF will be involved.
Okay.
The committee will also act an electoral committee, and none of the normalization committee members will be eligible for any of the open positions in the elections.
Here's how that is important. That is important because at that stage, we just might find ourselves in a situation where we'll be able to identify people with an eye for positions within the Ghana Football Association, because we find ourselves in a situation where somebody is picked for the normalization committee and the person decides to pull out.
Yes.
It sends a strong signal that okay, this person has an eye for a particular position within the Ghana Football Association.
Let me very interesting. Now, Asma, thank you very much, our senior colleague, for joining us. So we've been given Randy Abbey has given us a very good summary of where we were and where we are going with the normalization committee, what it will do, and we have given extra information. People have wondered, isn't it the same football people who would do the job and so on and so forth, but the normalization committee will be quite independent, as we know. But where do we go from here? Now knowing what will constitute the normalization committee and knowing that it will be named pretty shortly.
I think there may be a number of disqualifications if you read the latest communication from FIFA. That it's going to collaborate closely with the government of Ghana in dealing with corruption and governance and disciplinary issues and all that. So by the time we get to the point where elections will be conducted, I anticipate that some of the people we're expecting may even want to file may have been disqualified. So that's a claim.
Why? Because of the eligibility check.
Exactly. Because if FIFA is going to work closely with the government of Ghana in enforcing the laws of Ghana and FIFA statutes, I expect even right now as we speak, some of the ESCO members, as it was incarnated up until this
point,
latest measure, have been found to be not just incompetent, but lacking integrity by the combination of the 4 and 5, those points that the normalization committee will replace the ESCO. And then the subsequent bullet number says that the government of Ghana, FIFA in consultation with the government of Ghana, will appoint persons of integrity. It just tells you that by the two, they're saying that the ESCO members are not competent and lack integrity.
All right.
It disqualifies them because it says the normalization committee will replace them. And then they will appoint persons of integrity and competence. Just indirectly it disqualifies them. And who knows if by the laws of Ghana, the current members, the members of the ESCO up until now, up until the current measure, may have infringed on one or the other of the Ghanaian laws.
Well, who knows? For the purpose of this discussion, we might as well stick to what we know for now. But for me, what I keep asking myself is this: okay, so people are going to have to pass an eligibility test before they can be a part of the normalization committee. What is the criteria for that eligibility? Do we know?
FIFA's eligibility processes are, you find them in the FIFA statutes.
Clearly integrity is one of them, but what else, qualifies a person to be a member?
If we check the FIFA statutes, you will find out they are very open. So they will look through your, basically, that's why they will have to do it with the government of Ghana, because they will say that, okay, at FIFA level, Eco Asma does not have any financial dealings that have gone wrong. But government of Ghana, do you know anything? Then the government will say, pay our checks, we'll check with the police, the CID, so on and so on, and say, Eco Asma has issues, so we cancel.
So in reality, we can actually have a situation where members of the previous FA administration could be a part of the
normalization committee. It is entirely
possible.
all
the checks and the person is clean.
It is entirely possible.
But that would disqualify such persons from actually being part of the new FA.
Of the new FA.
Of course.
So
they wouldn't be interested. That's the point I was making earlier on, saying that if somebody is named, the person qualifies, and you find the person pulling out, it sends a message. The person has
will be a tactical point on the part of the FA, of the government too, to check who might be interested. Name them and then see who will say,
that's true.
There will be tactics on both sides.
Of course.
If the government want to check somebody, say, does this guy really want to?
So this is
what put them on normalization.
And for the benefit of listeners, we are preempting the actions that will go on from FIFA and the government of Ghana. We are taking the discussion forward because we know everything that's happening.
Exactly.
So what may happen in the next few weeks, and as we speak, what I do know is that FIFA are putting certain names forward through their consultations with CAF. Because remember that all the names FIFA will give will be in consultation with CAF, not the GFA. Yes. So CAF and FIFA will put forward some names like, Kofi Mensah. We have heard that Kofi Mensah is good. Government of Ghana, what do you say? And then the government of Ghana will say, Kofi Mensah is a good candidate. Then they will write to Kofi Mensah, and Kofi Mensah will say, I'm not interested. That would be pretty interesting. But from previous examples, and this is where I want us to educate ourselves. There have been normalization committees in Argentina. There was one in Greece. That's the famous one that people know about. There was one in Cameroon and Guinea. Recently, there was one in Australia, of all places, because they had internal wranglings, and so FIFA had to step in. Now, there are 4 other football associations out of FIFA's 212 members with recent or current experience, and these are the 4 I've mentioned: Argentina, Cameroon, Greece, and Guinea. Now, in Argentina's case, Julio Grondona, as we know, he died. He was recently named as somebody allegedly receiving a bribe in the inaugural FIFA trial in the Brooklyn courts because of the Swiss rates.
Who knows if that might have killed him?
A lot of people say he got a heart attack apart from that. So his replacement was Luis Segura, and he was elected by a 75% Congress that produced a 38-38 vote. They tied at 38-38. And if that wasn't enough to raise eyebrows in Zurich, then the indictment of Segura by US authorities was So he was indicted.
Okay.
And FIFA stepped in because now the person who has been given the job suddenly has been found guilty of corruption.
Issues.
Yes. So a new president was elected in April last year after the normalization committee came and did its job. So that's how it works in one case. So in their case, unlike in Ghana, there was no threat of suspension from the World Cup qualifiers. There was a player strike for non-payment and a 4-match suspension for Messi, if you recall. Yeah. That happened. Then the new president, after the elections and consultations and everything, was Claudio Tapia, who is currently the Argentina FA boss.
Now, in all of this discussion, something just caught my attention. The Ghana Football Association, as we speak, has an injunction placed on it. Okay, it's still under that permanent injunction that.
But per FIFA's letter, the government will have to take it out.
No,
the condition was that government goes to court to discontinue the process.
Yes.
When it is satisfied with the work of the normalization committee.
Right.
Not just the normalization committee, not just that.
Yeah.
So all the measures above it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so this is what has caught my attention. If we have the normalization committee in place, that essentially takes over the work of the Ghana Football Association. Are we not, having a situation where we are turning around to break our own laws? Because if there's an institution with an injunction on it, all its activities are supposed to be at a halt, and then a body is set up to take over the activities of the institution that has an injunction on its activities. Are we not breaking our laws?
Well, that is why FIFA and the government of Ghana...
break the law? Normalization committee is not GFA.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's a temporal...
Where does it state?
But it's taking over the activities of the
GFA. Not GFA.
Yes, but it's not GFA.
It's not Ghana Football Association.
So let's Hans, and you see, it's good we are having this discussion because anybody at all can get caught in it.
Because my understanding is this, for instance. Okay, so multimedia has an injunction on the company.
Sure.
We are not supposed to come to work.
Yes.
Per the injunction.
But they can have a normalization committee and have presenters and everything that will do the work and be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
So I may be a member of the normalization committee, but not a member of multimedia.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is what it is.
Right.
When everything is done and I pass all checks, they'll bring me back and put me in the seat as a staff of multimedia. So let's remember, the normalization committee will run the daily affairs of the FA. So player transfer, everything will go on normally.
Well, which is
draft new statutes.
It's part of the role and functions that the liaison office has been doing. Because there's been player transfer.
There's been player transfer. However, you see,
facilitated
the liaison team. They facilitate it so that everything works smoothly.
Yes. Okay.
But they are not in. I don't know. They don't run the day-to-day affairs of the FA.
At least we know of a government FIFA collaboration that has been able to facilitate player transfers.
Sure.
Even in the face of all the legal rights.
I mean, we know how legal issues are. Very technical. It just caught my attention because I realized that this is the situation. Because for me, my understanding is that if there is an injunction on a particular activity, it means that it is not supposed to happen by whichever body. I mean, that's
the injunction is not on the activity; it's on the body called Ghana Football Association.
And all of its activities.
But the normalization committee is not called Ghana Football Association. It's clear.
That's the point, Hans.
That's the point.
Remove the GFA from your head.
Yeah.
That's all. They are not
There's
the
a
GFA.
body called Ghana Football Association.
Yes.
And there's another body called Normalization Committee. It's not the same. Legally, it's not even the same, even legally.
Okay.
All right. So you see, the normalization committee is brought in to avert a FIFA ban. That's the whole thing. So that you can go ahead with football activities. Remember, FIFA's prime preoccupation is to ensure that the business of football is not hindered. That is the only thing. And so for them, the normalization committee will ensure that the business of football continues.
Where would a normalization committee work from?
That is something that they will decide. Okay. In the various countries, in Argentina, in Cameroon, in Guinea, depending on the makeup of the team, they will work there. They can decide to move them here and base them at a hotel nearby, or whatever the makeup of the team will decide. So that is essentially what the normalization committee is about.
We just have to wait for the people whose names are going to come up and what their responses are going to be. I'm particularly excited because, we are going to have a scenario where we get to see, okay, this person has got, ambitions of becoming a president.
But we know, we are waiting. We know that some people right now are positioning themselves well.
Let's make something clear.
Yeah.
I think it's been missing in all of the
discussion,
the noise that we'll be making since it came up. Those 2 points that I referred to.
Yeah, sure.
The points 4 and 5.
In the FIFA letter, you mean?
Yes.
Last week.
That said that the normalization committee would replace the ESCO, and then right after that said that the FIFA and the government of Ghana would appoint persons of integrity for the normalization committee. Just outright disqualifies the ESCO people.
But it doesn't necessarily disqualify
all of them. Break it down. Wait. The executive committee.
Yes.
As was incarnated before the
yes.
It's been replaced by a normalization committee
temporarily.
That would be comprising of persons of integrity and competence.
Yes.
What does that tell you?
What that tells you is that the normalization committee will have people
of integrity.
Fine.
And it's replacing a body
that can have a situation where members of the previous executive committee could be part of the normalization committee.
Yes.
I don't think
so. It is very possible.
It's not possible.
If the puzzle, I don't want to mention names here.
It is not possible.
But Echo, let me just give you a hint. If there are 22 members of the ESCO, right?
Yeah.
How many of them were caught on an ANAS tape? One or so.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No. I'm just making a point.
Don't forget.
Yes.
That when the government was going to court, it took along the white paper directives too.
Sure.
Don't forget. It's not just an ANAS tape. Don't forget.
Yeah, but you see,
we just keep saying that ANAS tape. It's not the only reason.
But you see,
why did you think
what reason? Why did
the state take the white paper directives?
I want to ask you a question.
In addition,
I want to ask you a question.
Is it not key?
No.
Is it not key?
No. What reason would the government give? And I'm talking legal here. To say that the other 21 members, what evidence do they have to show that, for example, whoever is not fit enough to be part of the normalization committee? What have they done that you have evidence for?
Thank you. Why do you think FIFA agreed to the recent contingent to Zurich's request? Do you know what they presented to FIFA? Do you know?
No, tell me.
I don't know, but I'm saying it's enough for FIFA to agree. That should tell you they have something concrete.
Okay, let me give you an example of something that is happening now. Now, for the benefit of listeners who don't know, Nigeria, and at this time, I think the FIFA ban should have kicked in by now. Nigeria are in similar but not so similar circumstances as we are. In their case, two factions are fighting over who should be Nigerian football NFF boss. Yeah. Amaju Pinnick and Chris Jiwa, right? So essentially, they are fighting over who should be FA boss. For example, let me borrow from
court has actually declared
Chris Jiwa
the FA boss.
In the case of Australia as well, when the FA president left, he put his hand there.
Okay.
And that is why they were going for a normalization committee. Now, Echo.
Yeah.
In Nigeria's case, they are facing the threat of a FIFA ban because FIFA said we don't recognize Chris Jiwa because he was not put in place as NFF boss through the procedures.
How's that similar to
No, I'm coming. I'm making a point.
It's very different.
Yes, it's very different. Now, the sports minister, and this is where I want you to understand, the sports minister has since last week requested a meeting with FIFA. We requested a meeting with FIFA. It was granted immediately.
Yeah.
They didn't have the clout.
In that case, it wasn't the president of the land. No. The FIFA reason, and I'm giving you the FIFA reason, official FIFA reason. They said that they did not recognize the authority of the sports minister. And so they don't want to meet him.
So it's very different from our case.
We requested a meeting and gone. Nigeria requested a meeting. They are not granted that meeting.
Number one difference. Their president of their football association was not involved in any scandal.
Sure.
Had not been requested of its president for him to be criminally investigated.
Yeah, sure.
These are major differences. Number two, in our case, after the letter from FIFA, there was the president of the land that called the president of FIFA.
Yes.
Did that happen in the case of Nigeria? There are basic differences. Don't confuse the two, please.
Okay.
The final point.
Besides that, did they have their ESCO members taking bribes on camera? No. You know there are clear distinctions between Ghana and Nigeria.
I know.
Let's not put them.
Yes, but I'm saying that your point that GFA Exco members cannot make a return onto the normalization
I'm not making
committee.
that point. It was made clear in there, unless you couldn't.
No.
You are improving from.
If you could
yes,
decide,
it's inferring.
My point is
in there.
Yeah.
In there. Unless you don't have my eyes, you can't see.
I think the point I want to make is this: for the purpose of this discussion.
Yeah.
You see, the reality is this: has anybody been convicted of any crime?
No.
From the previous exco?
No.
Until that happens, until we have something concrete, the assumption we can make.
They're still in the point.
I'm coming.
You remember where it's
the assumption
they will work closely together regarding corruption and malfeasance.
Yes,
Let them get there.
Tell us. Let them work together.
Tell us. If you want me to stake my reputation, none of the 21 mark today's date will be fingered by the government of Ghana to FIFA to say that this person should not be there because of corruption. Mark it today. I'm telling you for free.
Because of corruption.
Yes, none of them.
FIFA doesn't really care about corruption. What are you talking about?
That's
they
what
just
I'm
removed it from their vocabulary.
So they won't. If indeed government puts the name of any of the 21 ESCO members out there as being fit for the eligibility,
you don't know
check,
what the
pass.
state has on them.
That's what I'm saying.
But you're the one putting your career on the line.
Do you know?
Gary? Who put his reputation?
No,
wait.
Do you know
who is putting his reputation on the line?
Putting your reputation on the line by saying that none of them.
No.
But you also stating
I'm saying that it's in there.
It's not in there.
You don't have the eye to see.
Why does it state that none of the previous members of the executive committee won't be part of the normalization committee?
Just stated it today. None of them will make it. You wait and see.
Okay, all right.
That's all.
Fine.
When you get my eyes, you see.
The Joy Sports Track is brought to you by bet138.com. Now that we are betting on whether some people will make it or not, and then the case has become something.
It's not already.
Bet138.com. How will you feel when finally, after that long search, you find that place where all you do is win? Make a move to 138.com, the best sports betting and virtual gaming company in town. Register and bet with us to enjoy 200% bonus on your first deposit. Yes, and it's only on www.138.com/Africa. Feel the taste of better odds, endless markets and prompt payment, and also live in-play betting. Visit any of our retail shops at Alajo, Caprice, Kaswa, Jamestown, Taifa, Sotuom, and Teshi, or in Accra. Kaswa, of course, is not in Accra. 138.com is licensed and regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. It's not for persons under 18. Bet responsibly. Join the winning team now. 138.com. Win every day. Now that we are done with the issue of the normalization committee, it will be an issue of discussion. We spent the first 20 minutes of this discussion giving the facts, and then we did a debate. So you decide where your opinions are. You, the listener. That's what this job is about. Meanwhile, though, in England,
mistakes. We made mistakes, and we were punished by the mistakes. Sometimes you make mistakes, but you are not punished. Imagine if in the penalty Gross hits the post. We wouldn't be punished by that mistake. We were punished by every mistake we made. So congratulations to them. They deserve.
Sure. Let's come back to the studio here where Eko Asma and Hans-Mester Andor are still betting stuff on the normalization committee. However, Jose Mourinho is a hot man. Hans or Eko, Charlie the man make hot. Man's never hot, but this man make hot.
Is this still called a special one? Because he hasn't been special for
a while.
Okay, so let me break it down quite simply. Some people are trying to blame the players. Yes, maybe you can absolve them of blame. But the point is this: when you have 11 players on the field of play, all of them not performing below par, when you have 3 substitutes coming on and also performing in that same fashion, it tells you it's not really about the players.
What's about the other office?
No.
Tell that to the United
fans. How many games have they played?
They played 2 games.
I mean, you saying both have been. I'm not a fan of Mourinho. But if you check his record since he's been there, he won the Europa in his first season.
The opening 2 games in the Premier League have been second in the second season. The reason people are not really talking about it as 2 bad games is because they managed to win the first game. But they've played 2 terrible games.
Did they win the first game?
Oh, they did.
W is a W.
They played terrible.
Look at it.
I can understand that.
W is a W.
But for the purpose of analysis, they played a terrible game.
Did they win or not?
And for as long as
the second game we played all the football, all the beautiful football,
for as long as Mourinho has been Manchester United manager, I can count up to 5 games where I watched and wow, United were awesome. You understand me? And that is the crux of the matter. They are playing terrible football. They've been playing terrible football for as long as Mourinho has been manager, and I don't think that is going to work. The marriage between Mourinho and Manchester United will simply not work.
Right.
But you know, he was the best thing that happened to them after Ferguson. Really? Can you contest it?
I don't think.
Hans, can you contest it?
No.
You cannot contest it. What are you talking about?
Facts and statistics.
Now let's check the facts.
You know what the thing about facts and statistics.
The guy won the Europa League in his first season for them.
Yeah.
After all the masters of disasters.
But you know the point I want to make.
Is it not true?
The thing about facts and statistics.
Last season he came second. What are you talking about?
You see the ladies
better than so many other managers.
You see the ladies bikini. You know what it does?
Yeah, it can show you.
Now you want to be indiscreet. You want to be indiscreet on air.
It hides. Oh, go ahead. You know what it does? No, it hides the most essential.
No, but you see, I allowed him to talk when it was my turn.
No. Echo.
Now he's still talking.
When
he was talking, you said,
"I'm just making a point."
No,
I'm not disputing what you are saying, but I'm only making a point.
Do you remember when you were talking?
Statistics
and I tried to make a point. You said, "Echo, allow him."
Echo, hold on.
When it comes to my turn.
The facts and statistics can be very deceptive. Look, we are talking about Manchester. Certain clubs are not made for the Europa League. Forget it. But it's the truth. Echo. Certain clubs are
making a point.
Real Madrid cannot win the Europa League and be through. Neither can Barcelona.
Hans, let him make his point.
Okay, Echo, make the point.
Thank you very much.
You have 1 minute. Time's gone.
Thank you. I'm saying, Mourinho. I'm not the fan of Mourinho. Yeah, definitely. Sure. But the guy has had results the past 2 seasons. He's been the best thing that happened to United since Ferguson. Can you dispute it? No. It's not going well. It's a very small sample. 2 matches. 1 terrible game. They won the first game, lost the second. If the next 3 games go like this, he'll be fired. Even if I were at the helm, I would fire him.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
So on that point, you seem to be converging with Hans.
No, I understand that.
But for the
it's a small sample.
Yeah, but 2 matches. Yes.
That's right. 1 win, 1 loss.
But I think that
they were both terrible games.
People are making this point because it seems like nothing has really changed since last season. So it seems like everything that happened last
guess which team turned up second?
I know.
Oh, which manager?
So let me put it in context.
Yes.
So I'm saying it's a small sample. That's all I'm saying.
Point difference between United and City was a mammoth 19 points.
What about the rest of the league? What are you talking about?
We are talking about Man United.
We are talking about Manchester United.
Thank you.
When you have a situation where United before to a league mammoth 19 points.
So before Mourinho, United was such a great club, right? Doing much better.
All right.
Really?
Echo.
What are you talking about?
Thank you very much, Hans. Thank you very much.
I know you love Mourinho. I'm not a fan. I'm just going with the facts. He won the Europa League in his first season.
I love Mourinho.
Don't make.
You cannot contest.
I love Mourinho. Make me lose appetite.
Hans, it's okay. Thank you very much. We are coming up to the top of the hour. What a bombastic show today has been. My goodness, 2 very opinionated men. The host himself is not that much or that less opinionated anyway. So yeah, you know how it rolls. Coming up to the top of the hour here on Joy 99.7 FM. The Joy Sports Track has been powered by Bet138.com. My name is Gary L. Smith. I've been here with Hans Mensah Ando and Echo Asma. It's been great. I wish we had more time, but time for the news at 2.